All right. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed the presentation. I know we had a number of questions come into the chat. I think that's great. Tammy Polson was kind enough to make mention that it's important that everyone has their application number in order to um, participate fully in this process, because you're going to need your application number. So when we do the sort, we do it by your application number, and then in the next column, it will actually say the lottery number. So we do not list people's names or addresses due to privacy reasons. So you have a couple minutes if you happen to still need to grab that letter that we mailed you or emailed you initially that would list your application number. So that's important to have with you today. So we're going to make a couple quick announcements. And again, my name is Kristen Pine. I work for Peabody Properties. We are the lottery agent as well as the managing agent for Walker School Apartments. It's my pleasure to do the presentation here today. If you missed any part of this pre-lottery presentation video, just go to the Walker School website at www.walkerschooltaunton.com and click on the pre-lottery presentation button on the landing page, and you'll have this same video that you can watch over and over again. It is full of valuable information through that really explains throughout the entire process of the lottery up until the time of move-in. So again, thank you for your participation today. A couple announcements. First off, this is being recorded, so we will also add this to the website probably by tomorrow, if not sooner. Also, when you get your lottery number today, please don't call us for placement. And what I mean by that is people say, am I nearing the top? Am I nearing the top? Trust us, we will be calling you. We will be reaching out to you as soon as your name comes to the top of the list. We want to house people. That's our job here. We are all about housing people. So we will be reaching out to you. It makes our job easier as we can just continually go through the list instead of fielding a lot of calls about, am I approaching the top of the list? When do you think I might be able to move in? So I promise you we will be contacting you. So thank you for your patience on that piece. I do want to introduce our property manager. Tyrone, do you want to introduce yourself, tell you a little bit about yourself? Tyrone Tillman will be the new property manager for the Walker School.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tyrone Tillman. I'm the new property manager for the Walker School. I've been with Peabody for about 3 years now. They've been really good to me. I'm really excited about the Walker School, and I'm excited to meet everyone. And please let us reach out to you. We will be reaching out to you. And thank you all for joining. And I look forward to hearing from all of you. Remember,
Great.
we want to get you housed, so don't worry. We will be calling. I
That's
will be
right.
calling. Thank you, Chris.
Well said. Well said. Thank you, Tyrone. I do want to give a quick shout out to Tammy Polson, who's our Vice President of Compliance, who actually is heading up all this lottery stuff for all of us. So thank you to Tammy. But a special shout out to Mike Mattos and Colleen Doherty and Kim Levine. Mike Mattos is with Affordable Housing Supportive Coalition Inc., who's also partnering with another developer, Taunton Revitalization Inc., headed by Colleen Doherty, and we also have the support of the Taunton Housing Authority. So we also have Colleen and Kim for that. So I just want to thank them for being on today's presentation. I know they are a little shy today. They didn't have any announcements, and that's okay. I do probably enough talking for most people. Tammy, did you want to say something at all?
I did. I also wanted to mention that Carol Morocco is
Yeah.
our senior compliance manager. She will be working directly with Tyrone as well. So it will either be Carol or Tyrone who will be giving a call to people to start setting up interviews, collecting the necessary documentation to process your files. And also, again, we're very eager to work with everyone. There was a question earlier asking about how many units were available. There are 40 units available. We do have 110 eligible applicants for this lottery. So unfortunately, not everyone is going to be housed. But again, we will, at the conclusion of the lease up, and once we know how many people have been approved and we filled all 40 units, we will be letting everyone know that the building has been filled, but you will remain on a wait list. So it's not like if you don't get a unit now, you may not get one in the future. So it's really, really important throughout this entire process and beyond. So whether you're in the running up front, please make sure we always have a current and accurate phone number as well as email address. That is the way we're going to be reaching out to you. We do our best to be understanding of circumstances and know that you may not get back to us immediately, but we do have deadlines we need to meet. So if after a couple of attempts, we haven't heard back from you from our requests, we do have the right to move on to the next person. And like I said, we have 110 people who've applied for this project. So there's plenty of people after you who will want to get housed. So please make sure you stay in contact with us. If you do not get offered a unit at this time, again, please keep us up to date on any email or phone number changes, mailing addresses, any of that, so that later on down the road, if a vacancy occurs, we know how to contact you.
And that's very important. I will tell you that we've worked on other lotteries before, and that is something that we do run into, where we are calling people saying, guess what? You know, you're at the top of our list. We're ready to do our initial interview with you and get you qualified for housing, and we can't get a hold of you. So it's very, very important, if your email or phone number changes, if you have a change in mailing address, you have to let us know. If we cannot get a hold of you, you will be dropped from the list. We will make a few attempts, but after that, we move to the next person on the list, which I think is probably important to talk about. And this was referenced in the presentation that, and I know people are going to want to know, how soon do I get moved in? Even if you're not placed initially, or we don't call you initially, because there will be, after the actual sort today, we're going to start calling people at the very top of the list based on their lottery number, probably within the next 5 days or so. And as we do that, you'd be surprised how quickly some of the names go through on the list, because we can't get a hold of people. People will find out, you know what, I've made alternate arrangements. Maybe we can't qualify them to move in because of something within their file, background check, maybe they're over income, things like that. You'd be surprised how quickly some of those numbers do seem to get to the top of the list. So please don't fret. We're here to work with you. We are excited to house people and get those 40 units filled up as quickly as possible. So if we reach out to you, please call us back as soon as possible. It is so important that we get a hold of you. If we don't get in touch with you within a few days, we do move to the next person on the list. So now that we've kind of got that out of the way, we're going to do the lottery sort as I'm pulling that piece up. I just want to go over a couple other pieces, which is you will receive an email or a paper letter, snail mail sent to you, and that is going to list your lottery number. So it's just a confirmation of what takes place today. And then in addition to that, once we get a hold of you, we're going to conduct phone interviews. And you might say, why are you doing that? And that really is for everyone's safety due to COVID. So we do want to exercise as much caution as possible. And so we're going to embrace technology. We're going to use a lot of email. We're going to use phones. We're going to try to fax or scan things or use DocuSign as much as possible. And that is why we're not doing the in-person interviews. It's really out of an abundance of caution for everyone's health and safety at this time. So I know it's been a long 15, 16 months for all of us. So we appreciate you working with us in that respect. Some other things to note, which is the deadlines. The deadlines are just not negotiable. We are working with very time-sensitive deadlines. They are beyond our control. This whole process is highly regulated. So if we say we need something by this date, it's not a suggestion. So I appreciate you working with us and just knowing that up front. We are here to work with you and house you to the best of our abilities. So please just be mindful of those deadlines. It's very important. And we are going to ask you to provide a lot of documentation. And that simply is because if you can provide all the documentation that we need up front, that will cut down on a lot of the time. And Carol, I know you're on the phone here. You might want to unmute yourself, but Carol helps process these files. She's very thorough, and she wants to process them as quickly as possible. So instead of us, requesting something from your bank or some other outside entity, if you have the statements, please provide them to us in full. And Carol, you might want to speak to that. Anything up front as I get the sort ready? Carol, are you there? I don't know if she can hear me, but so it's very important that you provide us with as much documentation as possible. And again, failure to respond will mean that we're going to have to move to the next person on the list. So I'm going to ask everyone to hold their questions if you have any at this time, and I would like to get ready for the sort. So this is being recorded now. Can everyone see my screen okay? You can see the spreadsheet, thumbs up?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so we are going to do the sort. And just to explain this process, this is everyone's application number. As I had mentioned earlier, we are not listing your name and your address. That we need to protect your privacy as much as possible. So you should have your letter in front of you, and it will say what number it is. So WS is Walker School, and then the number based on the date and time that your application came into our office and was received. So you can see we have 110. So if you have your letter in front of you, keep that handy. And now what I'm going to do is do a random sort. So you can see this over here on the right side, all cells in the range, all values will be selected, randomly mixed, okay? So by the click of a button, Excel will do this for us, okay? And then I will put the lottery numbers in place, and we are good to go. So here we go. They have been randomly mixed. I am going to now put the lottery numbers in.
And while Kristen is doing that, I'll just note, since Carol, it sounds like maybe she had some issues, or maybe she had to jump off of the presentation. Not only are we looking at your file and determining eligibility, but there is a third-party auditor and reviewer who also looks at these files, and they are the ones who ultimately determine if you're approved based on eligibility requirements for the programs. So we do that on our end, and then your files are also going to be going to the Taunton Housing Authority. So there's basically three sets of eyes. So it's going to be Peabody Properties, who determines initially that you're eligible. And if we feel we have everything we need, we'll submit it off to our third-party auditor for the investor who's involved in this project. And then it will simultaneously go to the Taunton Housing Authority. Since they are the ones who are providing the rental assistance for all of these units, they have to go through their paperwork and do their due diligence to also establish eligibility. What we're trying to do is streamline the process so that when we do reach out for an interview and we start collecting paperwork and we have you sign paperwork, we're also going to include the Taunton Housing Authority's paperwork to just streamline the process. That way you don't have to work with us and then work with the representative from the Housing Authority. And it just is going to streamline and make the process much, much quicker and simpler for you.
Sorry, everyone, I was muted and I couldn't get unmuted. This is Carol. I will probably do most of the paperwork, and Tyrone will do your housing authority paperwork. So we'll be working as a team. And a lot of times I'll be calling you because a lot of people don't have emails or anything like that. But yes, I will be in contact with you. Again, the more you call, the less we can get done. So please be patient. I promise you, you'll either get a phone call or a letter. I promise you. And I am not around all next week. So you're gonna have to call Tyrone if you want anything.
Yeah, I don't know whose crazy idea that was. We allowed Carol a vacation, but we are here to house you nonetheless, and she will come back refreshed and recharged and ready to work on your files with Tyrone. So, my apologies on the light going out here, trying to be energy efficient. So, the lottery results are in. If you look at the spreadsheet, I'm going to scroll as quickly, excuse me, as slowly as possible. So, if you can all see here, please have your application number in front of you. If you don't have it, please go into the chat, type in your name and your address, and Tyrone or Tammy will be happy to supply you with your application number. And we will go through this a couple of times. And then in the meantime, if you can see here, so whoever has application number 1, WS001, your lottery number is 53 out of the 110. So does that make sense? And the person who had application number 2, they've been randomly sorted as number 18. So I'm going to slowly scroll here. So please take a look at these numbers while you have your papers or emails in front of you. And we're just going to do a very slow scroll, and I will go up and down a couple of times. But if you have a question, please use that chat feature. Also, if you have questions about the property itself, you are welcome to ask. And I think this might be a good time. If you can type in your question, we can raise that question to the entire room. So if you have a question outside of your lottery number, please feel free to type it in the chat. So,
and I'd also like to add that
Yep.
after the conclusion of today's presentation, everybody will receive either an email or a letter with their lottery number.
Yes.
So even if for some reason you don't catch it right now, we will be formalizing that by sending you, again, another letter letting you know what your lottery number is.
Yes. And that means once those letters and emails go out, that's my job to do today. We will be starting to contact number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on for their lottery numbers starting next week. So please, if you have a low number, meaning low as in like number 1, number 2, number 3, you should be expecting a phone call next week. So make sure we have your up-to-date information. And
can I add also, Kristen?
Yeah.
We ask everyone to write very clearly on their applications. Some people have beautiful handwriting. It's very fancy, but it's difficult to read. So that being the case, sometimes the emails that are provided, they're hard for us to read. So if you do have a low number and you do not hear from us within the next couple of weeks, then I urge you to call us, because maybe there was something that wasn't properly written on your lottery application. And again, since we rely on those phone numbers and emails, at that point, yes, then we encourage you to call us. But otherwise, we should be good.
Yes, I agree. Just last week, we were working with someone's email address and what looked like an S. There was some sort of name, and we thought it ended in an S. It was actually a 5. So it is important that, as the handwriting sometimes can be difficult for us to interpret. So as Tammy said, if you haven't heard from us and you have a low number, please reach out to us, because that would be unusual for us not to reach out to you.
And the other thing is, and I haven't looked at the spreadsheet closely, if there's anyone who does not have a phone or an email address, working through snail mail is very, very difficult. It stretches this process out beyond. It just makes it very, very difficult. So if we're trying to reach out to you, there's a possibility you won't even get that information for a good week or so. And unfortunately, we're right around the corner from getting our certificate of occupancy.
Yes.
So we need to find out some way that we can expedite that communication. So whether it's a caseworker, a friend, a family member, we really need to get a phone number and an email of some sort for somebody so that we can make that communication go a lot faster.
Yes. Another point is, I was actually Tyrone and I were both at the job site yesterday, and they are on target for a certificate of occupancy. They're assuming like end of August. So what does that mean for people? It means, you should anticipate as early as a September move-in date. And please do not, if we call you, do not just give notice to your landlord. That's very important. Do not give notice until we tell you to give notice, because who knows? You might be over income and we can't move you in, and then you gave notice to your landlord, and now what happens to you? So please be mindful of that. Do not give notice. I know people want to do that. They think that's going to help them speed up the process. We will tell you when you should give notice to your landlord. Questions on that at all? So, has everyone been able to see this and capture their lottery number? Am I going too fast? If I'm going too fast, please type in the chat and I will slow down, but I've been trying to go up and down a few times, so hopefully you were able to capture it. Questions for us? This might be anything in the chat right now. Oh, that's okay. If someone wrote on it says, I don't know how to erase it, don't worry about it. We don't care about that. That's okay. I think everyone can still see the numbers, and we will post them. So let me know if anyone has any other questions. I can actually go in now and unmute people. So, okay, go ahead. And you are free to now unmute. Anything else? If we have no other questions, I'm just going to go up and down one more time, and I think we're good. And I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. And again, any questions that you have, please consult the walkerschooltaunton.com website. We're happy to help. We are here to help. We are here to house you. And I think you're going to be very excited. This property is gorgeous. Keep checking the Facebook pages. We have construction photo updates, and they're absolutely gorgeous. It's really getting exciting in there, both the historic portion of the building as well as the new addition. The finishes are lovely, and I was actually excited to see that they have really put in some beautiful details in both additions, both the historic piece and the new addition. And I think you're going to be very excited once the doors open for everyone to move in. So please keep consulting that website. Look at the photos. Actually, we're going to have digital photography that was just completed. We're going to have that up on the website in the next couple of days, along with a 3D virtual tour of one of the apartments. So you can actually tour the apartment right from your device. So it's exciting, and we want to keep you engaged and keep you, connected with us. So as soon as we call your name and your number, that you work with us, and we can get you, hopefully your file approved very quickly and ready for move-in for